I want to talk about a forbidden subject. I want to talk about something that each of you hide. You don't show those that you love the most. I want to talk about vices. Now, some of you have open vices where you've kind of made it part of your character. You've made it part of who you are. You've even got to the point to where you don't have relationships because of those vices. Or maybe you've hurt a relationship or you're done with the relationship, whether it be a work relationship, with a partner, marriage, whatever it may be. What do these vices long-term do to you? And how do you gain clarity on the vice? And then how do you overcome it? That seems to be the problem, I think, with a lot of us, is what do we do? You know, we always talk about discipline, success, all those things. We have keywords for it, but then it's this old creepy pattern that comes back over and over and over again. And I don't know what your vice is. I really don't care. I mean, I have vices. We all do. You know, whether it's alcohol or tobacco or gambling or men or women or sex, whatever it may be. We all have certain vices that we hide. And what I'm encouraging you to do is to be honest, to be self-aware enough to understand that next level of success that you want to experience a lot of times is being held back because you're putting the vice above your success. Because the old you is the vices. And maybe you've gone 1, 2, 3 steps above. Maybe you're making a little bit more money than you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Maybe you're in a leadership position now. So guess what happens? As you make more money, as you gain more success, the vice will 10x itself. Because now you can afford to drink more. You can afford to gamble more. You can afford to have more sex because you're more successful, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a vice of just feeling sorry for yourself all the time and being depressed. And you've gotten to this habit of fake it till you make it. And no one knows, what you're facing through. And you've never really dealt with it because of fear. And I think this is really important. And this is something that I've been working on inside of myself, is my self-awareness whenever I have an emotion, because that emotion is just a chemical response in the brain. That's all it is. Now, I can give authority to the emotion, and then that emotion will cause me to seek out an easy fast food alternative, which is the vice. Or, and I've heard this statement before, is I can get really alpha dog against the vice. And I'm encouraging you not to go to war to the vice. I'm just encouraging you to stand up to it like a David and Goliath. And that vice may look like a Goliath and you're this little tiny David, but he found a creative way to kill Goliath. If you know the Bible reference. If not, I would look it up. It's pretty cool. So how do you kill this vice, this Goliath in your life? I think first thing that we need to look at is getting into why am I always going back to the same thing over and over again? And we know that's the definition of sanity, but you need to get like really clear on that. Why am I always going back to depression? Why am I always going back to hiding and watching Netflix and not wanting to talk to anybody and not wanting to go anywhere and get super introverted while I'm super depressed? Or why do I always want to go to the casino when I get a little bit of success? Why do I always want to go to the casino and gamble tons of money away? Or why do I feel like I need to drink every day? Or tobacco, smoking, whatever it may be. Whatever your vice is, I'm feeling a little stressed. I need pornography. I need sex. I'm feeling really, really upset right now. So I'm going to get into the habit of being destructive in whatever vice that is. So you got to ask yourself why. Like, why do I keep going back to that? I've gained success here, here, here. Why can't I gain success over this? And you just got to ask yourself, like I said, you got to say, okay, I'm David. I can overcome this Goliath. It's the emotion that I'm putting towards the vice is what gives it power. That's the only thing that gives it power. is your emotion. Your emotion's telling you in that quick moment, I want this fast food. I need this right now. So if you can overcome that emotion by asking why, just pause yourself right then and there in that moment and say, why? Why am I feeling this way? What caused this? Oh, I got super stressed at work, or, I got an argument with a loved one, or, you're going to find is something that you're perceiving as negative that you feel like you're powerless over. The ego uses the vice, that comfort, to make you feel better temporarily. So you give into the weakness of that emotion from your ego, and that in turn gives you this fast food comfort. Oh, that tasted so good. Love the donut. Oh my God, that cheeseburger was amazing. It's the same scenario. If you look at it as like food, and maybe that's your vice. I don't know. But I do know this, whenever I began to say why, and I began to really just, before I go and act on my vice, why? Why are you feeling this way, Jason? And usually it's because I feel powerless and fearful over something. I feel like maybe I'm not. That's my ULP, my upper limit problem. Whenever I get a lot of success, and I've had ULP, upper limit problems. I've had several podcasts on that. I encourage you to listen to those. When I feel like I have too much success, I have a thermostat. And so I have to bring myself back down, self-sabotage myself so that I feel comfortable, because I can't handle that success. So I have to learn to say, yes, you've earned it. You've worked hard. And I know a lot of us don't like, especially entrepreneurs and leaders, we don't like to give ourselves credit. A lot of times we use an excuse of giving others credit instead of giving ourselves credit. And you don't have to do it like walking around and be narcissistic and let everybody know, I did this and I did that. That we don't like that. We've all seen people like that. But I'm saying internally inside of yourself. Yeah, I did something successful here. I'm not going to use a vice. That's the old me. And that's not real. The emotion that I'm experiencing right now is the old me, and that's not real. Why am I feeling this way? Because my boss yelled at me, because my partner yelled at me, la, 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 la. And so now I want this to give me comfort. But it's a false sense of security. It's a false sense of comfort. It's dangerous, and it's damaging to your success and to you personally. Because like I said, if you can't overcome or at least work on these vices, you're going to fail. And you ask yourself, why did I fail? Use it as an experiment. Why did I fail? Why did I give into my vice right now? Because once you gain more clarity on it, then the ego's like, big flashlight's been shined on this. So I like to be in the dark. I like to have ambiguity. I like to have where I'm being able to control him and keep him in this emotional fog. Now he's gaining clarity. That's not working. So your consciousness, your higher self, Holy Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, begins to bring you enlightenment through the clarity. Don't try to discipline yourself away. We've all tried to quit smoking, quit drinking, quit pornography. The list goes on and on. Quit eating bad foods. You can't will yourself to the point. That doesn't work. We've seen that with a lot of religions, old school religions, when they're beating themselves and everything else, trying to get the demons away. It doesn't work that way. The best way to gain power over your vice is to gain clarity on it and gain clarity on why you're acting out that way. So I encourage you guys, this is a quick little podcast. I'm going to do a lot of these smaller ones and just kind of hammer one subject, because I feel like with our success and our leadership, if we can get one thing and work on that for a while, work on that for a week, work on that for 3 or 4 days, gain awareness on it, get in the habit, create affirmations around it, not be afraid of it, face the Goliath. You're going to have to take your stones in the slingshot like David did, and you got to stand up for Goliath. We all know what happened. Read the story. It's awesome. Whether you believe in Christianity, the Bible, Judaism, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is an amazing story. I encourage you to read it. in the Bible. You can just Google it, David and Goliath story. But you'll see, no one wanted to face Goliath. Not one single person did. They were all afraid of him because he was a giant. He looked really big, and he was real scary. But David, being a little shepherd boy, found a creative way to be able to overcome it. And he got super, super focused. He found a weakness in Goliath, and he overcame it. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Gain clarity on your vices, and they will weaken. And eventually, over time, you'll laugh at yourself that you would even succumb to that.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.